Welcome back. We're going to start here by making a scene, and we're going to show you everything to do from storyboard to animation. Let's start by drawing a small storyboard. Here I've got a blank sheet of paper. I'm going to start by drawing a storyboard rectangle, which approximates, not exactly, but approximates a widescreen 16 by 9 aspect ratio. Draw a second rectangle. Add a character to it. I drew one circle, but I decided that's not quite where I want the head to go, so I'm drawing a second circle. Add a mouth and eyes to it. Now this is a very rough drawing. This guy looks kind of worried about something. We're not sure what. He's got one hand up, and the other hand will be on his chin because he's a little bit concerned about whatever it is he's seeing, and probably he's thinking something here. According to our tiny script, which would only be 2 lines of dialogue, he's thought of something as he sees something, but here he's just thinking about it, just saying, Now let's try his reaction as he will point to what he's saying and become happy. Again, a circle for the head, this line for the axis, add the nose, and here I'm adding the mouth next. The wide open mouth, teeth, tongue. His eyes are very wide and happy as he reacts back. His eyebrows go up. Add some ears to it. Here's his neck, lower lip. Just continue drawing and sketching. You can keep this rough because this is just a storyboard drawing. It does not have to be totally accurate, does not have to be totally on model, whatever that model may be. Here I'm just making it up as I go along. But if you were out in the, quote, real world, there would already be a model sheet for you of this character to show you little poses that he does, attitudes and whatever. Out in the real world, we would get paper from the studios. As you can see, this paper from Disney is the old aspect ratio of 3:4. But you can see it had spaces on it for action, dialogue, a timing slug, and a translation for the overseas guys. This paper from Warner Brothers we made ourselves to do thumbnail drawings, and it's in the wide aspect ratio 16 by 9. As you can see, they're widescreen ratio. Not as many spots to add stuff. Now let's look at an exposure sheet. This exposure sheet is from Warner Brothers Animation. It's got a pretty wide action column, which means we have a lot of space to write and describe what the character is doing. And those heavy lines denote 1 foot of 35mm film. So every 16 frames is a heavy line, that's 1 foot. Every 24 frames, there's an almost heavy line, and that denotes 1 second of film. Here I take a pencil and then a red pencil. We mark off beginning of scene 1 by drawing a straight red line across the beginning of the scene. This is a carmine red pencil. This is a standard pencil that we use in our industry for doing sheets on paper. We mark off the scene number, we write the character name, which in this case is just man. He's in a start pose, and we'll call it drawing pose 1. Draw a straight line down, which means we hold the character in that pose for 16 frames. We're going to want to have an anticipation pose for the character, which can be either 4 or 6 frames. Here I've chosen 6 But that can change. As the director animator, I can make it longer or shorter as I want. We write the word antic, which is short for the word anticipation. That means a character does something before he does his main action. His main action is he comes up to point. That's that second pose that I drew. He will overshoot that, which means go beyond that pose. And then he will settle back. I'm drawing an arrow to show which direction the overshoot action goes. Settle back means he comes back in the opposite direction. And I'm thinking here, how long should that be? It could be 4 frames, it could be 6 frames. And in this case, I'm thinking, yeah, let's make it 6 frames. So he comes back to settle in 6 frames, a nice slow in to that pose. At that point, he will hold in that pose, and we extend the line down for 20 frames. Now let's look at our drawings again. We've got 2 poses here on the storyboard. From that, we will make layout drawings. Layout drawings are just larger, more refined drawings of our storyboard drawings. Here I'm keeping the basic same position in the frame of the storyboard, but the drawing gets a little bit more refined here. It's a bit more well drawn. I've drawn a framing around it of a widescreen, approximating a widescreen. Now this pose here is the reaction pose as he points and his mouth is open. We see his tongue and his teeth. And this is what a layout artist does. I've labeled the drawings, well, I've given it a scene number, scene 1, and labeled the drawings M1 and M2. This is what a layout artist does. You show the background, you show the characters, you show the field, the camera field that will be shot on and shown on screen. You look at our exposure sheet, and those 2 drawings represent the first frame and the last frame of movement. So what we have to animate is everything in that space there, which is about 20 frames. Now, we'll move on to doing the animation. Put a clean sheet of paper over our layout drawings. Use the layout drawings as a guide, and now we do yet another drawing over it. It's more refined. This is a rough animation drawing. This drawing would be given to an assistant to clean it up to make it look exactly on model. In this case, I've drawn the character's legs and feet just so we have something to anchor him to, so he's not just in midair. A lot of times layout guy will put the legs and feet on beyond the field guide, just so you have a point at which you're anchoring your character. So here I'm looking at the exposure sheet to see what it is I need to do. The anticipation drawing means he will bend down, bends over to anticipate his main action. His hands go down, one hand, the fingers get wide, his eyes close, his legs bend as he bends down to show his anticipation. Put a clean sheet of paper over that. Let's look at our drawing number 2, layout drawing number 2 to use as a guide. And I'm labeling it layout drawing so it doesn't get mixed up with the animation drawing. So now I'm roughing in the action here. Now this drawing is when he stands up to point really fast. And his hand goes out slightly further than it does on the layout drawing. Here I can take the layout drawing off. And when I look at this drawing, I notice, well, his head doesn't look quite big enough, so I add some more volume to his head, which I could have done just by tracing the other drawing. That would have been a better, faster shortcut just to make it more accurate.